Hey folks, it's Will here and welcome to this video review of the 2023 Giant Rain. The Giant Rain is an all-out enduro race bike. For 2023, it receives an all-new frame and an increase in suspension travel. We now have 170mm travel up front and 160mm of travel out back. It's equipped with 29-inch wheels, though thanks to the addition of a nifty 3-position flip chip, it's also now mullet compatible. The new Rain also gets internal storage and it gets updated frame armor with thick rubberized protection underneath the down tube and along the chainstay. The new Rain gets all the usual geometry updates. The head angle is a bit slacker, the reach is a bit longer, and the seat tube angle is a bit steeper. Giant has also shortened the seat tubes, and each bike also gets an adjustable long stroke dropper post. There are currently 5 models in the Giant Rain lineup, with prices kicking off at $4,399 Australian dollars for the Rain 2. For more information on specs, prices and geometry of the entire range, make sure you click the link in the video description below to check out the full review. The bike that we've been testing is the Giant Rain Advanced Pro 1, and the current price on this is $8,999 Australian dollars. And for your money, you're getting a full carbon frame and Fox Performance Elite suspension with a 38 fork and a Float X2 shock. There's a SRAM GX Eagle mechanical drivetrain and Shimano SLX brakes with a whopping 220mm rotor on the front. We've got a Giant TRX2 carbon wheel set and Maxxis tyres with an Assegai on the front and a Minion DHR2 on the back. Confirmed weight for our Giant Rain test bike is 15.04 kilos, and as usual, that's weighed without pedals and with the tyres set up tubeless. It's actually lighter than we expected, especially when you factor in the Burley build kit and the fact that it features an Exo Plus casing on the front and a double down casing on the rear. As to how it rides, with its Burley build kit and its DH adjacent geometry, the composure that the Rain exhibits on fast and rough terrain is genuinely impressive. Compared to the previous generation Rain, the increase in travel is both noticeable and welcome. The extra travel allows the bike to float more calmly through the chunk, and the high-end Fox dampers do a marvellous job of isolating your feet from the terrain. Small bump sensitivity and mid-stroke response are excellent, and there's plenty of travel kept in reserves for absorbing earth-shifting landings. The beauty of the Maestro linkage is the way that it delivers this gooey plushness without detracting from pedal efficiency. Far from being the lounge chair that we expected, the Rain has surprised us with its responsive acceleration. On chunky and loose technical climbs, the back end delivers excellent grip, while the near 78-degree seat tube angle prevents you from feeling like you're falling off the back of the bike. Also surprising for a bike with a 1.3 metre long wheelbase is that the Rain isn't actually that difficult to manoeuvre. Sure, you need to be conscious of where you're positioning the front wheel, but the relatively short chainstays allow you to pivot off the back on sharper switchbacks. It's also pretty easy to lift up the front wheel to negotiate square ledges when you're rock crawling uphill. Now bear in mind here that our testers have been on an extra large frame size. We expect that riders on the small frame, where the reach is actually shorter than the rear centre, are likely to have a different experience. Now while the Rain comes from the factory with a flip chip set in the neutral position, an offset chip is included with the bike, and subbing this in will provide you with high and low geometry positions. Now while we did find the high position to feel good on the climbs, the increased BB height made the bike feel too tall and a bit awkward everywhere else. However, this setting will be useful if you decide to fit a 27.5-inch rear wheel for the mullet setup. In comparison, the low position drops the bottom bracket height, and it also slackens out the head angle to 63.5 degrees, which improves the Rain's descending stability even further. If you're heading off for a weekend of shuttle action on steep and fast trails, this is the setting that we would recommend. As for downsides, well, there's definitely room for improvement with the internal storage. The main issue is with the hatch itself, which is quite small. It's impossible to fit a mini pump in there, and we even found it tricky to fit a dyno plug and a 29-inch tube, despite using the supplied storage sock. While the storage concept is a nice idea, it's just not as refined compared to a modern Specialized or Trek. Now, although our testers have been impressed with the efficiency and climbing performance of the Rain, obviously you're not going to be buying this bike for all-round trail cruising. Yes, it pedals well, but it's still a big bike that's really designed for riding down steep and gnarly terrain. It's burly, long and slack, and you really need to ride it accordingly to get the most out of it. Commit and get your weight over the front end, and it will reward you with oodles of grip and stability. Right off the the back of the bike though, and you'll struggle with understeer and potential front tyre washouts. This is especially the case on meandering single track on flatter terrain, so if that sounds like more your backyard, you might be better served by looking at the Trans X or even the Trans 29. Now, as mentioned earlier, the full review of the Giant Rain is now live over at flowmountainbike.com. In there, you'll find more detail about sizing and suspension setup, along with a deeper dive into our experience of testing out this bike. To sum things up though, we've been really impressed by this new Rain. It's plusher and floatier than its predecessor, and it offers incredible composure at warp speeds. The well-tuned Maestro linkage means it still pedals well though, and we like that you can fine-tune the handling and the riding position with that 3-position flip chip. Certainly for those who are after a modern enduro race bike, the Giant Rain is a superb and well-priced option. If you've got any questions for us about this bike, make sure you drop those into the comments below. There's a good chance you'll find the answers in the full review, so click the link in the video description to check it out. Otherwise, we hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Tooroo!